graveyard shift began under a sky with no stars, moonlight swallowed by thick clouds hanging low over endless farmland. The factory hummed in the distance, its fluorescent glow slicing through the mist. Inside, only a handful of workers clocked in, their footsteps echoing through vast metal corridors that smelled of oil, sweat, and rust. Jeremy had worked nights for 3 years, but that evening something pulsed beneath the surface of routine. The machines operated too quietly, as if muffled by an invisible layer. The overhead lights flickered once, then steadied, but the silence between those flickers felt too long, stretched like distorted film. He scanned his punch card, the timestamp flashing 12:15 a.m., an oddly familiar number he'd seen every night for a week. The clock on the wall ticked, yet minutes refused to pass. Each tick sounded deliberate, almost sentient, as if the factory itself were timing him for reasons beyond production quotas. The assembly line moved with mechanical precision, spitting out metal components that glittered under harsh lighting. Jeremy's co-worker, Lena, whispered that she'd seen her reflection blink independently in the window. They both laughed nervously, until the reflection smiled wider than either could physically manage. When the power surged, every lamp dimmed except the emergency lights that painted crimson pools across the floor. A low hum resonated from the machines, morphing into what sounded like a human breath. Jeremy felt goosebumps crawl up his arms as shadows flinched, almost recoiling from his glance. Trying to shake the unease, he went for coffee, but the break room clock displayed 12:15 again. His phone showed no reception, and the vending machine kept spitting out the same can of cola over and over. He opened the can, but inside floated metal shavings instead of soda. Thick fog began seeping in through small cracks near the window. When Jeremy peered outside, he didn't see farmland, just dark, motionless silhouettes lined perfectly like gravestones in fog. Their edges glimmered faintly, as though pulsing with static life. Lena ran into the corridor, pale and trembling, claiming the line supervisor had vanished mid-sentence. On the monitor behind her, security footage showed the supervisor simply fading into pixelated dust. Random corridors flashed between black frames, displaying glimpses of corridors that didn't exist. Jeremy grabbed a flashlight and decided to check the power hub near the main production hall. The air grew heavier the closer he got, each breath requiring conscious effort. When he reached the metal door, the flashlight beam split into 2 moving shadows that didn't align with his movements. Inside, cables sprawled like veins around massive generators humming out of sync. The frequency cycles sounded like garbled whispers spelling his name in bursts of static. He touched the metal console, feeling warmth pulsing like a living heartbeat beneath his palm. The intercom crackled to life with a distorted announcement. A robotic voice repeated, "End of shift protocol initiated," on a loop. Yet the shift wasn't supposed to end for another 4 hours, a fact his colleagues confirmed moments before the factory loudspeakers began emitting faint sobbing sounds. Lena disappeared around the corner, following what she said looked like an emergency exit. Seconds later, Jeremy heard a scream cut short, followed by silence so deep it carried its own pressure. He ran after her but found an empty corridor bending back into itself, a perfect geometric loop. Walls of that corridor seemed liquefied under the flickering lights. He pressed a trembling hand against the surface, it rippled like water, reflecting not his face but an older version of himself, tired, weathered, and crying silently. When he pulled back, the wall chilled his fingertips to the bone. Back in the main bay, machines had stopped mid-operation, still humming faintly but producing nothing. The conveyor belts trembled, scattering bolts like metallic hail across the floor. Through the air vents, a hollow laughter whispered, almost human, yet impossibly layered. He found a group of workers huddled in the cafeteria, all insisting it was still the same moment, 12:15 a.m. Their watches, phones, even the wall clocks each showed the same frozen second flashing repeatedly. Someone muttered that time had gone on strike. Jeremy decided to venture into the factory's basement storage. The stairway downward smelled of decay and machine oil. Each step produced a dull metallic echo that seemed delayed, as though the sound fought through a thick barrier of something unseen. In the basement, long corridors stretched infinitely under harsh yellow light. The inventory shelves curved unnaturally, suggesting space no longer obeyed geometry. A single radio played faint 1940s jazz, skipping backward every few beats, a ghostly melody trapped in repetition. Called out Lena's name, an answer returned, but not from her voice. It was his own, coming from deeper within the darkness, repeating him perfectly. The echo lagged half a second too late, making it sound like someone learning speech by mimicry. Suddenly, a heavy metallic bang echoed through the corridor. Jeremy ran toward the sound, only to find a door labeled Archive Room, Restricted. The handle felt hot to the touch, as if heated from within, but when he pulled, a freezing draft rolled out, smelling faintly of hospital disinfectant. Inside the archive, rows of filing cabinets contained identical folders labeled Night Shift Roster. Every folder listed his name, repeated nightly for over 50 years. The photos attached showed a man who looked like him but progressively aged across documents dated back decades. He dropped the folder, trembling, and saw the date on the form read March 21, 1974. For a chilling moment, he thought about his own birth year, 1994, and wondered if the numbers had been inverted somehow. The air vibrated, distorting his vision, as if reality bent. Alarm blared overhead, another voice repeating, "Containment breach detected," though there was no sign of danger, no smoke, no fire. Jeremy bolted toward an exit sign that seemed to drift slightly left with every step. The visual distortion felt like moving through liquid glass. He reached a large steel door leading back toward the main floor. Behind him, the floor rippled violently, steel groaning under invisible weight. Shadows sprinted across walls like animals freed from obedience. His heart thudded so loud he thought the machines might respond to its rhythm. Bursting through, he found the assembly line running again though no workers remained. The conveyor carried unfinished parts shaped roughly like human hands molded in cold steel. Each turned palm up as it passed beneath the inspection light, showing faint fingerprints etched into metal. He staggered backward into the control booth, slamming the door. Monitors above flickered, each feed displayed a version of himself working alone at various stations, looping endlessly. The older footage blurred into present reality until he couldn't distinguish which version stood where. Attempting to shut down power, he hit the main breaker. Instead of darkness, blinding white light filled every corner, swallowing shadow and color together. He felt weightless, suspended between mechanical noise and perfect silence, unsure whether he still inhabited his own body. When the world snapped back, he found himself standing again at the time clock, punching in as the overhead speakers announced midnight shift start. The same workers walked past as before, greeting him exactly the same way. His heart froze, time had reset, perfectly. He looked around, searching for Lena, but she stood near her station smiling calmly, not remembering the scream or the fog. The window reflection now blinked in sync again, harmless, almost reassuring. Yet a low hum beneath the machinery carried an undertone of warning he couldn't unhear. Jeremy whispered to a new coworker about his strange déjà vu. They shrugged, saying they sometimes felt days repeat too, like a bad recording stuck on loop. He laughed nervously but inside, cold realization coiled tighter, no one on the shift could remember when that loop started. During his second coffee break, the vending machine again dispensed the same cola can. He turned it in his hand and noticed tiny etched letters near the rim reading, "Cycle 42 confirmed." Something deep inside told him that number marked resets he'd already lived unknowingly. Determined, he sneaked into the manager's office to check logs. The computer screen glowed pale green, showing unending columns of identical timestamps all frozen at 12:15. When he tried to print one, the printer instead produced an image of his own eyes staring back. Machines began roaring again, louder than ever, their rhythm aligning to his racing heartbeat. A siren blared though no one else reacted. He screamed into the noise, demanding an end, but the instant he blinked, he stood again outside the factory fence, hearing his alarm clock ring at home. He stumbled toward his truck, headlights brushing the factory exterior. Through the windows he saw himself working inside, unaware of the man outside staring back. The reflection smiled faintly, lifting a hand as if waving goodbye, or perhaps warning him never to return. As dawn finally cracked above the barren fields, the factory fell silent, fully dark for the first time in memory. Jeremy drove off trembling, vowing never to tell anyone until years later when he learned the facility had been shut down since 1975. No one could explain who had worked there that night. Some say the factory stands empty even now, lights flickering once every night at 12:15. Locals swear they hear metallic voices drifting through the fields. Whether a temporal glitch or ghosts of vanished workers, no answer satisfies, only the haunting truth that the cycle may never truly end.